Good morning and happy Thursday. I hope you're off to a great start today. I know a lot of you have already gotten your day going. I just wanted to kind of give you a rundown of some of the big stories that we were following on the news this morning for those of you who are just waking up and may have missed our news. And in the meantime, I'm also going to turn on comments. So talk to me as we're going through this. Let me know if you have any questions about any of the stories that we're covering, or if you have any news tips for me. Um, Always eager to hear from you. All right, let's get started. One of the big stories that we had on this morning was Senator John Fetterman is in the hospital. He was having a little trouble last night. They were at a Democratic function, kind of a retreat, and he started feeling lightheaded. Initial reports at the hospital, we can tell you, show that he did not have another stroke. You might remember he had a stroke in May, and that was brought up often during his Senate run against Republican Mehmet Oz. And he won that race, obviously. He's in the Senate. Right now, he's in the hospital, though. We're waiting for more tests. So they're doing some more testing on him. As soon as we get some information more about what's going on, we'll let you know. In the meantime, again, doctors say it does not appear that he had a stroke again, and he's talking to his doctors, he's talking to his family. But you can stay with us for noon, for our noon show, and we will have more on that. Good morning, Eric. Let me know where you guys are watching from as I keep going. This is another story that we're following, and that obviously is the train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, that impacted so many residents in that town, as well as a radius around it into Pennsylvania. Darlington, Beaver County, all the residents there in that area were evacuated. Many more residents were told to keep their windows closed, their doors closed. We've been following this closely. Here's a resident.
Even though they say it's okay now, of course we're all concerned about it. We are.
So that was the big story. Yesterday, it came out that residents were allowed back in their homes. The EPA did some testing, both of the air quality and the water quality, and said it is fine. Lots of residents, though, are still really nervous about it. You can see why. All of that smoke coming out of those rail cars that were carrying hazardous material. 5 of them had vinyl chloride. And that was the biggie that everybody was worried about. So what they had to do was um, do a controlled burn. So they shot holes in the bottom of these 5 tanker cars, let the vinyl chloride seep down into some trenches, set it on fire on purpose. A lot of people were worried about what was in the smoke and where that smoke was going, this toxic cloud. Again, the EPA yesterday said they got the all clear, and we talked to a lot of residents. Listen to what
Whenever
this guy
I
said.
got back, it still smelled a little plasticky in the air. The second I walked into the house, the air was just heavy. It was thick. It was hard to breathe. I'm asthmatic, so I immediately hit my inhaler. I could tell that it was hitting my chest. I don't want them around it. I'd rather be the dummy or test victim.
So that's what he had to say. He went back into his home after he got the all clear, and he is in that area that was evacuated. He said it still kind of smelled plasticky to him. He's worried about it. We talked to a lot of other residents that expressed their concern. They did want to get back in their homes, though, check things out. A lot of people left their pets there. So we continue to follow that. More testing is being done. The EPA is telling residents that if they do have any symptoms health-wise, to immediately call 911, be seen, but they really believe that the air quality and the water quality is good. However, along the creeks there and the tributaries, we found a lot of fish kill and other reports of other animals, small animals having problems there. So we are waiting to get some more information about that. Good morning, Stu. Uh, Good morning, Deborah. Reading your comments here. Um, Hello, West Mifflin Public Works. Hope you're having a great day. Good morning, Fred. And love AB Ceramics as always. And you know I love to rent them, Deborah. So thanks for saying hi. I am doing well. All right. So the other story that we've been following um, very, very closely, and I had to mention here, is the McKeesport police officer that was killed in the line of duty, Sean Sluganski. That is him. He was killed in the line of duty on Monday. And the vigil last night, and look who showed up. This was another officer, Chuck Thomas, who was also shot in this incident. He is Republican. Hundreds of people came out last night in McKeesport to pay their respects. Um, we continue to follow this horrible story, but it is just so touching to see how the community is coming together. I do want to add, for those of you who have been wondering, the funeral arrangements have been made for Officer Sluganski. We can tell you that the viewing will be Sunday and Monday at John Slater Funeral Home in Brentwood. His funeral will be held on Tuesday at St. Albert the Great Church in Baldwin. We continue following that story. The suspect is still in the hospital. He was injured in return fire, and just a horrible situation. Another police officer killed in the line of duty. Um, it's a hard thing to cover. It is very touching, though, to see how the community really comes together. We've been following the police chief in Brackenridge as well, and the outpouring from the community has been tremendous there as well. Um, some of the tough stories that we have to follow. Good morning, Dan. All right, let's see what some of your comments are. Hi, Elizabeth. Nice to see you on here. I'm not sure I would trust the EPA regarding air quality. Still remember that they said the air in New York City when the Twin Towers came down was fine, right? Um, that is something that we are following, Elizabeth, so thanks for commenting. We can only report what they're telling us. We are reporting the numbers. We are taking a look at the numbers. More testing continues, though. And there was also some concern as to how far that toxic cloud went. The idea was that it would dissipate in the air. They're telling us they just didn't have a choice, though. These tankers were going to explode, and if they exploded on their own, they would not be able to control where the shrapnel went, as well as all of the toxins. So this was the best case scenario in that they controlled the burn and they kind of knew how to handle it. But there are a lot of questions, especially when we saw the dead fish. Um, Residents were reporting chickens that had died mysteriously right as this started. So we have a lot of work ahead of us covering all the numbers, not just from the EPA, but we are talking to some other groups too, trying to do some monitoring. And and as these residents go back in, you heard this guy who said that he went back in his home, still smelled like plastic. So, all right, let's see. Good morning, Eric. Oh, let me see if I can punch you up here. Horrible. Thoughts and prayers, yes. And you know what, Eric? I know. I agree with you with those first responders. Yesterday at the news conference with the governor, if you saw, they brought up all of the volunteer firefighters who showed up, risked their own lives in this dangerous situation to keep the town safe. He said, these guys are the ones who saved the town, and we cannot give them enough credit for what they did. Um, always amazed by all of our first responders in this area. So I'm glad you pointed that out. All right. And hi, Deb. Thanks for checking in. I hope you guys are having a great day. For those of you who are just joining me here on this Facebook Live, one of our big stories this morning we continue to follow is Senator John Fetterman is in the hospital. We keep monitoring that situation too. As you know, he had a stroke in May and is still in the recovery situation. Um, he was feeling lightheaded at a retreat last night. He went straight to the hospital. Initial tests showed that he did not have another stroke, which is great news. Doctors are kind of trying to pinpoint exactly what's going on, though. He's alert. He's talking to family. He's talking to his staff. We're hoping that he is okay, obviously, and released soon, but we continue to follow that situation. And as soon as we hear something from him, we will let you know. Good morning, Mike. I don't know the answer to that. So Mike is asking about the situation with the train derailment and all the toxins. what is going to be done with all the surrounding soil and water runoff? That is a great question. So we can just tell you what all the experts are doing along the way. We're asking a lot of questions. We're doing a lot of monitoring of what they're doing. We're talking to residents about what they're experiencing, and so we will let you know when we find out. But that is a really great question because it was really a catastrophe. Thankfully, nobody was hurt though, so it could have been worse. I realize that. So the good news is nobody was hurt. The people in the affected area were evacuated safely. But as they come back to their homes, there's going to be a lot of testing of well water. A lot of people who have well water are very concerned about that. So as we get new information in, we will pass it along just as soon as we get it because so many people are worried about that. Oh, more comments. Let me see. Um, Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right. So I'm going to get back to work today. I just wanted to let all of you know what was going on. For those of you who may not have gotten up at 4:30 when we start in the morning and you're just joining us, you can be caught up. We will have much more, of course, at noon, and we hope to see you then. All right. Have a great Thursday. Enjoy the warm weather. Freakishly warm. It's nice.